Hello friends, welcome to our channel Knowledge Amplifier. So today in this particular video we are going to explore how we can unlock insights of customer reviews using generative AI. Okay, suppose you are running a restaurant or maybe you are selling some products in Amazon. Getting the customer review insights is a vital part, right? Because based on customer reviews you can improve your product or restaurant experience, whatever service you are providing, right? So let us try to understand how we can automate the process using generative AI. So generally customer reviews are unstructured text data. For example, here I have taken two reviews. One review is the ambience was fantastic and the food was delicious, overall a great experience. Okay, so maybe you are running a restaurant business and one customer has given this kind of reviews. So obviously, as you can clearly understand, it is nothing but a positive review, and from your side specifically not much action need to be taken. If you maintain the quality what currently you are having, then this will go good way, right? Now if you consider the second comment, it is written good food but the noise level in the restaurant was bit high, which made the overall experience very bad. Could not have a conversation without raising our voice. That means it is kind of a mixed review. The food was good but the customer has complained with the noise level available in the restaurant. So this is kind of a mixed feeling we can say overall if you perform sentiment analysis. And also there is a very important action item you are getting from this customer review, and that is we have to take certain steps to reduce the noise level within our restaurant, right? So I hope you are getting it, that from customer reviews obviously one insight what we can get is positive, mixed or neutral we can say, or maybe negative sentiment whatever associated with that comment, and based on that we can understand in which direction our business is going. Apart from that, in determining the action items also the customer reviews plays a major role, because based on their feedback we can take certain necessary steps to make the overall experience better for our product or for our service in next time, right? So this sentiment analysis, this action item determination, to get this kind of information from this unstructured text data, we can take help of generative AI. Okay, right? So what all information we can extract using generative AI from this bunch of customer comments that I have noted here. Point to be noted, instead of passing a single comment at a time, better if you combine bunch of customer reviews and pass via our generative AI model. That will result into efficient outcome, because there is a high chance that for most of the customer reviews there will be no action item, right? So if you pass individual messages to generative AI and give the prompt like this way, that provide me the action item, for most of the comments you might get empty data. So better if you can combine certain number of customer reviews and pass via your generative AI model and give the prompt like this way, that determine whether the overall sentiment is positive, neutral or negative, and what all action items is there that you provide us. That kind of prompt might be more helpful in this particular context. So in this case what we can do, certain number of customer reviews we can pass and provide a prompt to do this kind of insight extraction, and we can expect that the response from generative AI should be 5 elements which the model can return as a JSON key value pair. Obviously first can be summary. So because here we are passing multiple customer reviews, so what is the overall summary? If you want to have a glance instead of going through each reviews, then the summary can be helpful. Okay. Then overall sentiment, considering all the reviews, whether overall it is coming positive or negative or neutral, right? And for overall sentiment, what is the score? What is the confidence level the model is having? Like for example, if it is saying that overall sentiment is positive, then whether it is 100% confident, 70% confident, that kind of idea we should be having. Because if we are having confidence score less, then in that case we might not consider overall sentiment as final or correct output. Rather we should go more granular level and try to understand what is happening there. Then if you want, you can have positive, negative, neutral score separately in that overall chunk. How much you are expecting positive, how much negative are there, how much neutral score are there, those kind of things you can get. And obviously as you can understand, in sentiment analysis we have only these 3 possible outcome. So positive, negative, neutral combiningly should be 100%, and action items, it can be an array, because multiple action items we might need to take out of those bunch of customer reviews, so it can be an array instead of a single element. So these are certain outcomes what we can expect from the generative AI model if we are trying to extract the insights from our customer reviews. Okay, right? right? So I hope this particular part you understood. So here for this particular demo I am going to use Anthropic. Okay, you can easily sign up and you will be getting a $5 credit, so you can easily create an API key and start playing with this particular advanced large language model. Okay, or if you want you can also take help of AWS Bedrock to access the Anthropic model, right? Because Bedrock also has onboarded this particular one. Whatever works for you, you can take that option. For my case, in getting the access for Anthropic model in AWS Bedrock was little difficult, so I have signed up, and for this POC I am going to use the free tier account. Whatever $5 credit I am getting, based on that I will try to do this experiment. Okay, so as a first step, what we need to do, we need to install two things. One is Anthropic, one is Boto 3. Why Boto 3 is needed, I will be telling you later. So Anthropic is needed to interact with our this large language model. Once you create the API key, here you can click on docs. It will be taking you that how you can call the API, pass some prompt and get the result. For that you can refer this. Okay, so API reference you can click, and if you want to work with Python, here client SDK is there. Here we are having our Python code written. Okay, so we need to import Anthropic, so that's why I am installing that first. Okay, so I will run that, and once it is done, here we need to provide our API key, whatever we have generated from this particular layer, right? And then here we can provide the role as user, content. In the content here, hello cloud, like that way we are providing. Instead of this, in our case, we can pass the prompt which will have the instruction what this particular model need to do, that is those 5 or 6 important information it need to extract from the customer reviews, right? And if you print message.content, it will have the output. So this particular code only we are going to refer here. Okay, so let it get downloaded, and here I have taken certain number of customer reviews, like the food was outstanding, each dish was a work of art, both in taste as well as presentation. So this is kind of a positive sentiment. Like that way multiple comments are there, and some mixed or negative comments also I have given, like the food was good but the noise level in the restaurant was bit high, making it hard to enjoy our meal. So this customer review require one action item, so we'll observe whether in action item it is getting captured or not. So like that way multiple customer reviews I have written in this customer reviews variable. So I will run this, and here is our prompt. Okay, so we are providing a prompt, you are a summarization assistant. Why summarization assistant we are writing? Because this way we are giving the role to our large language model. It will try to summarize all the customer feedbacks whatever we have provided in this variable, because it might be hard for any restaurant owner or businessman to go through each and every customer reviews, but rather they can easily go through the summary and understand the overall gist, right? And then obviously if they want, they can go to more granular level in each customer review and all. Okay, so your task is to summarize product reviews given to you as a list. Within this list there are individual product reviews in an array. So it will understand this is string. Okay, not a problem. If you want, you can structure in an array format and also provide, not a problem. Create a JSON document with the following fields. So here in this case we need to provide what all insights we want to extract. So summary should be one JSON key, and in the value part the large language model should have this particular thing, that is a summary of all these reviews in less than 250 words. Okay, overall sentiment, the overall sentiment of the review, sentiment confidence, how much confident the large language model is on the overall sentiment whatever it is determining. And this will be obviously out of 100, some value it will be giving if it is giving in percentage, and if it is giving in fraction, then obviously in between 0 and 1 some value will be getting. Then how much positive sentiment we are getting, how much neutral, how much negative. So combining these three, obviously it should be 100%. And what all action items we might need to do to improve the customer or product experience. Okay, so a list of action items to resolve the customer complaints. And here I have specifically written, don't put something which is already good, only the complaints thing, whatever action items we need to perform, those only mention. Okay, so like that way obviously you can provide certain instructions in a better way to get better outcome out of the large language model. Okay, and your output should be raw JSON, because we want to get the JSON data, because in future we might be interested to store the data in some DynamoDB or NoSQL database. That time inserting the JSON data will be very simple. Okay, instead of free text, right? Now do not include any sentence or additional text outside the JSON, and here is a list of reviews, and here we are passing the customer reviews. So this is basically using if string, we are configuring the prompt, and here we are expecting the result from the GenAI LLM assistant. Okay, so I will run this, and then here we are importing all our necessary required modules, Boto 3, date time, Anthropic, right? These things are needed. Now this code I have taken or copy pasted from here. Okay, so anthropic.anthropic, like that way we can define the client for our cloud anthropic model, and then here we are passing the prompt whatever we have created here. Okay, so here already we have configured customer reviews, so dot format is not needed actually, so I can maybe delete this particular thing. Okay, so here we are passing the prompt, and we can expect that based on this particular prompt and user input, it will able to generate the insights. Okay, so let's run it, and here it is taking some time to run. Obviously you can understand it will infer all the results, for that it takes some time. And now to get the outcome, here you can see it is printing message.content. Maybe we can store in a variable, and here we can print output. So this is how we are getting it. This is not a complete JSON. We might need to do little bit of pre-processing. So here as you can see, it is nothing but an array. Okay, so let me just do output of 0 and then run it. So here you can see it is a text block. So because it is a text object, I can execute dot text to get the original content, and here we are getting a JSON in string format. So obviously we can simply use JSON dot loads to convert the string to a proper JSON data. Okay, but it will fail because JSON is not imported. So we'll import the JSON, and I will run this. So here you can see beautifully we are getting the insights from bunch of customer reviews in a proper JSON structured format. So if you see the summary, the reviews overwhelmingly praises the restaurant for its outstanding food quality, presentation and taste. And here if you go through it, the wine selection, menu variety were also positively noted. However, a few minor concerns were raised, including high noise level in the restaurant and a desire for more dessert option. Okay, right? So this point is coming from where? Let's see. So here if you observe our customer input, here if you see the last comment, this dessert was delicious, but I wish there were more variety of menu, right? So this particular information is coming as an action item, right? So in the summary also, here it has noted. Overall sentiment, it is highly positive because most of the comments were positive and few action items were there. The confidence is also very high, as you can see, 0.95. Positive sentiment is 90%, neutral is 10%, negative is 0. There is no negative, but there are two action items. One is increase in number of dessert items, another one is noise level reduction. So here if you see, it is coming as an array. Consider implementing noise reduction measure to improve dining experience and expand the dessert menu to offer more variety. So instead of going through all these customer reviews, now here we are getting a proper JSON structured data using generative AI. So that's what same thing I have done in the next cells. I can delete this one. We are importing JSON, and here same thing we are storing in analysis variable, and if I execute analysis, I'll be having my customer review insights. So now this cell is not needed, and maybe as part of the next step, you might be interested to store this particular data in some database. So that time we can easily create a DynamoDB table. Let me quickly go to AWS Management Console and create that. DynamoDB, I'll go, and here I will click on tables and create table. Table name I'll be providing kind of review storer. Now we need to provide partition key and sort key. So for that, here in our case, because we are only running restaurant, so we don't have any product specific keys. But suppose you are running multiple products in Amazon or this kind of e-commerce or quick commerce portal, then you can have the product name or product ID as the partition key in your DynamoDB table. But in our case, it is not available. So I am considering maybe date as partition key, and for sort key we need some value. So I am taking the create time, that is timestamp value, because it will be having hour, minute, second, so always it will be unique. So that one I am taking as sort key. Okay, right? And here I will be creating the table. Okay, cool. Now as part of the next step, what we can do, we can easily create a DynamoDB client using Boto3. Here, because I am running the code currently from Google Colab, I need to access it using AWS access key, secret key and region, which I have already configured. But in our production system, we should not hard code in the code, but rather we should take from secret manager or some environmental variable. So because this is just a POC, I have done like this way, and here I am creating the table review storer, and I am executing a simple put item command to insert the data, whatever we have extracted here, right? to our DynamoDB table. Okay, so here if you see date and create time, we are generating ourselves using date time utility in Python. Now review summary, we are basically putting the summary whatever the LLM has generated, right? Overall sentiment we are taking from here. So it is just key value extraction from our analysis variable. Then sentiment, confidence, review positive, review negative, review neutral, and action item. Okay, action item basically here we are getting as an array. While storing in DynamoDB, we can basically make a string out of it with comma separated values. So that's why here I have extracted the action items, which is nothing but an array. There I have joined based on comma and space, right? So that way it will be inserted in our DynamoDB. Currently if I go to our DynamoDB, so here review storer, it is already existing. So maybe review storer YT I can provide, and then here I'll create the table. Okay, and here the table name I can update review storer YT, and this is the one. If I click on explore table items, here you can see currently there are no items. All I can do, I can execute this particular command, and here it returns success response, that is 200. So let's go to our DynamoDB table, and if I refresh here, you will see that on this date, on this time, insights of customer reviews are stored. There is no negative, only neutral is 10 and positive is 90%. Overall it is highly positive and sentiment confidence is 0.95. And here if you want, you can always check the summary whatever available, and in action item you will be seeing what action item you need to take to improve it. That is, consider implementing noise reduction measure to improve the dining experience and expand the dessert menu. So instead of going through individual customer reviews out of thousands and thousands of reviews, you can take help of generative AI and large language models to create this kind of insight extractor. And once the data is stored in DynamoDB, you can do many things out of it. Maybe you can have an event bridge rule which will trigger a Lambda, and that Lambda will be scanning this DynamoDB table, whatever data or whatever rows newly got inserted in past 1 week, those rows it will be extracting, and those rows it will be maybe sending as a mail using AWS ACS to the restaurant owners or the business stakeholders. So that way they no need to come to the DynamoDB table for checking it. Or maybe you can dump this DynamoDB data back to S3 and create an Athena table out of it. From Athena you can create some quick site visualization. All those things you can implement. Okay, right? So that's what we are going to do in our next step. So here is the architecture. So if you see, it is a very simple architecture. We are having our S3 where grouped customer reviews are getting dumped instead of single customer reviews, right? Maybe here we are having some Firehose where in the input side from Kinesis stream in real time all the customer reviews are coming, but Firehose using buffering technique combining multiple reviews in a single file, and that file it is dumping in our S3 data lake. And once the file lands in S3, it can trigger Lambda. Lambda can take help of Cloud generative AI large language model to extract the customer insights, and it can write the data in DynamoDB. And here we are having our event bridge rule which may be triggered weekly. Okay, and it will trigger another Lambda function. This Lambda function will scan our DynamoDB table, extract in past 1 week whatever rows got ingested, and then it will send that review insights using ACS to the business stakeholders or restaurant owners, so that they can directly download those insights via mail and explore what they can do as action item to resolve the customer complaints, right? So this kind of architecture we can easily develop now from this Google Colab notebook code. So that we'll do now. So as a first step, what we need to have one S3 location where the files will be landed. So for this demo here, I have already created one S3 location that is within our this bucket. Here this is the S3 location where if customer review files get landed, Lambda will trigger and it will ingest in DynamoDB. So as part of the next step, here I can create a Lambda function easily. I can click on Lambda, and here I can click on functions, create function. Something like this kind of name I can provide, review insight extractor YT, and this is Python. I'll be creating the function. Okay, right? Now as part of the next step we'll be writing the code. So here is the Lambda code I have already written. So we are importing all the necessary modules. we are creating the client for S3 and DynamoDB, because here when S3 event will trigger the Lambda need to read that file from S3 data lake, right? So for that S3 access is needed, and once the insight extraction is done, Lambda need to write the insights to DynamoDB. That's why DynamoDB access is also needed. So that's why I have created the two Boto3 clients here, and then here table name we are taking from Lambda environmental variable, in which DynamoDB table it will be storing the insights, and Anthropic API key what we have hard coded here, that also we can take from Lambda environmental variable, or if you want to make it more secure, you can take from secrets manager. Okay, right? Here we are creating the client for Anthropic, and DynamoDB table we are referring, and then here is our Lambda handler, which is extracting the bucket name and file name from S3 event. It is reading the file content whichever has triggered our this Lambda, and it is printing the customer reviews whatever available in the file. This is totally optional, you can ignore this line, maybe for debugging purpose I have kept. And the same prompt here I am passing and calling the Anthropic Cloud A model, and the response I am extracting how we have done, and in DynamoDB table we are inserting, right? And finally we are returning summarization completed. Okay, so same Python code whatever we have done or executed in Google Colab, same thing I have written in Lambda function. Okay, so here I will update my Lambda function and I'll deploy this here. And now we need to provide proper role, so I'll go to configuration, and as a first step I'll be increasing the timeout for this Lambda to maybe 5 minutes, and I'll save this. Okay, now as part of the next step I'll go to permission section, I'll open this in a new tab, and here I'll click on add permission attach policy, and here I'll be providing DynamoDB full access, and apart from that I need to provide S3 full access as well. In production system you can fine tune these accesses, and apart from that some environmental variable also you need to configure, so I'll add those. So here if you see the environmental variables whatever needed is DynamoDB table, and the table name whatever we are using is this one. I'll be copying that and paste that here, and apart from that here we are having Anthropic API key. Okay, right? And here the key I'll be taking from my Google Colab code, this one, and I'll be pasting that here, and I'll click on save. Okay, like this way Lambda configuration is done. Apart from that, one more thing we need to do, that is Anthropic model is not readily available in Lambda runtime, so we need to create a Lambda layer. And because we have already developed a generic framework for Lambda layer build, it is very simple, kind of piece of cake. So for Lambda layer build here I can take help of GitHub. I'll be creating a repository quickly. So here I will go to repository and new, and here I can give the repo name as customer review insight extractor, something like that. Okay, right? And I'll create this repository as a private repo. Okay, now as part of the first step, if you recall our Lambda layer builder framework, what we need to do, we need to have a requirements file that what all modules we want to install. Now in our this particular case we need only Anthropic, because Boto3 is readily available in Lambda runtime, datetime is also available, JSON is also available, OS is also available, so only Anthropic needed. So I will go to my generic framework code, and here if I scroll below, here this was the code what we referred, and the requirements file we have to write in this particular folder structure. So here I'll be pasting that, and instead of pandas we'll be giving the name as Anthropic. So this is the module what we want to install, so anthropic.txt, and this is kind of a requirements file where we'll only mention Anthropic because that's all we want to install and create the layer. I'll commit this. Okay, right? And now we'll be having our GitHub action. So create a new file, not inside this, we should be creating in the root level. So here I'll be having .github/workflows/main.yml. Okay, right? So this is the structure, and I will simply copy our previous video generic framework code for Lambda layer. Only few things we need to change. One is access key, secret key. So in this case we have already created access key, secret key actually. Here if you see here, this is the access key, and we have created the secret key as well. So I'll be taking the secret key, and region is the basis one, that is fine. Now requirements file. So in our case the requirements file was anthropic.txt, right? So the name I'll be taking once again, it is anthropic. So here it is anthropic.txt, and here I can give the layer name as anthropic lambda layer 1, and here I can provide like this way Python layer for anthropic, or maybe I can give YT, okay, or lambda layer YT, like this way we can give the name. Pretty much it, no need to change anything else. We can commit the changes, and here if you see already our action should have started. Here it is running, and once the run will complete in our lambda environment, in the layer section we should be able to see that anthropic layer which is ending with _YT. Okay, currently it is not there. If I paste also anthropic, here you can see nothing is there. So let the job get complete. Here it is uploading the lambda layer. So here action is complete. Now if I go back to layers and if I refresh my screen, here you will see the layer got created, right? I can copy this ARN, I can go back to my lambda, click on layers, add layer, and here I will specify the ARN, verify, and it is verified, add. That's it. Okay, right? So this is pretty much done. And now as part of the next step, what we need to do, we need to add S3 trigger for our lambda. So for that I can go to my S3 bucket, and I can go to properties, scroll below. Here you will see the event notification. Currently it is empty. So here I will click on lambda, add trigger, I will search S3, bucket name I need to provide. So in our case the bucket name is this one. I'll copy that, bucket name I have provided. Okay, all object create event, that is fine, and prefix, that is in what folder if the file get landed, then I want to trigger our lambda, that is basically this particular folder. So I'll choose that and I'll give a slash. I'll acknowledge that it should not be recursive invocation, and I'll add it. So pretty much this particular part is done. Now let's see whether it is working or not end to end. So if you observe this particular thing, the food was outstanding, each dish was work of art, all these customer reviews I have already written in a file as well, this one, and the file name is reviews_2.txt. So let us try to upload that. So here what I will do, I'll go to my S3 folder and I'll upload the file. So here reviews2, I'll click and drag and drop. I'll click on upload. So here if you see, currently we're having only one row in DynamoDB. Soon one more row should be ingested. Let's see. Maybe I can close unnecessary windows. This window is no longer needed. This window is no longer needed. This one not needed. This one we can keep it. Okay, right. If your lambda got triggered or not, for that you can check the CloudWatch logs also. Here if I scroll below, here we are having a log stream, that means lambda got triggered, and it is done also. So hopefully in DynamoDB one more row should be ingested, and yes, it is there. So earlier when we ran from Google Colab, this was the row at 7:53, but now it is 8:07. This is the latest row, and maybe it is UTC time. So here if you see action item, it is having the same action items as earlier. If I show you here, implementing noise reduction measure to improve the dining experience, expand the dessert menu to offer more variety, and here it is also providing consider maintaining the current high standard food quality, presentation and service. This is anyway optional, but main two are action items. And here if I scroll right, it is also highly positive. So all I'm trying to say, Google Colab Notebook and Lambda run is giving same kind of result. Review positive 90% and overall score is also 0.95. Now let us test with another review file. Okay, and here if you see the changes what I have done intentionally is this review I have made it bad. Okay, like here I have mentioned which made overall experience very bad due to high noise. Okay, could not have conversation. So at least this kind of customer review is little towards negative side. So compared to our earlier review file, this time this should have more negative score instead of positive score. So let's see whether it is working as expected or not. So here I'll upload this review 1 file now, and I'll simply click on upload. It is uploaded automatically. From S3 our Lambda will be triggered. It will call our Cloud model and extract the customer review insights and write in DynamoDB. So you can scan our DynamoDB, whether third row is inserted or not, we'll see. And here you can see third row inserted. This is the latest time. Here if you see the action items, address the high noise level in the restaurant, implement measure to ensure all drink orders are accurately fulfilled. Okay, so why this particular action item is now coming? If we see our review 1, here somewhere the user might have written that there was something issue with drink order. So let's see. If you observe this point, the service was generally good, but waiter forgot one of our drink order. They quickly corrected it. So that means here we are having some scope to improvement. The waiter should not forget, right? So that's why here it has written implement measure in ensuring all drink orders are accurately fulfilled, right? And if you check the score, this time sentiment confidence is positive. Earlier we were getting highly positive, but because this time 2 negative reviews we have got and bad word is there, that's why now the overall score is less positive. That's why earlier we are getting highly positive, but this time we are getting positive. And if you check overall score, earlier it was 0.95, it is 0.9 now. And if you check negative score, earlier it was 0, but this time because there are some bad reviews as well, so negative score got increased and positive score is this much. Obviously whole together sum of negative, sum of review neutral and sum of positive will be 100, that is obvious. But this is how, using simple prompt engineering, we can extract insights instead of going through multiple reviews. If we are having this kind of structured data, then business team can easily take steps to have better customer experience or to improve the product quality, right? So I hope you understood the application of generative AI in this particular customer review insight extraction use case, and always you can make this particular pipeline as well. It is a very simple process. I have already explained multiple implementation of such pattern in my previous videos. You can check the prerequisite sections if you want to implement this one as well. All the codes and the reference links also I'll be providing in the description box or in the comment section. Try to play with it, try to implement it. That way you will be getting better idea out of it, and you will have some new ideas also that in this place I can apply generative AI in my current project, or maybe that problem I can solve which currently taking lot of time, manual effort, etc, etc. Okay. So this is all for this video. If you find this video helpful, then please like, share and comment. Subscribe our channel if you have not subscribed till now, and don't forget to press the bell icon to get the notification of our latest videos. Thank you for watching.